Hello there, this is Elena in my channel Enough. Today I am saying enough of lies, enough of aggressive wars, and today I'm gonna talk about traitors. Enough of making traitors out of people who doesn't deserve it. I'll explain a little bit what I'm talking about. In Russia, there is very famous poet and partisan who was fighting in the war 1812 with Napoleon, which is, in America it's a different war. In Russia, that was a war between Russia and France with Napoleon. In this poetry, which called A River and a Mirror, Denis Davidov saying about how Tsar wanted to execute one philosopher who displeased the Tsar, and the philosopher decided to tell, before his execution, to tell the Tsar about a little story. And the story was about the child who looked in the mirror and didn't like how his face looked like. He thought he's ugly. So he broke the mirror and decided that it was okay thing to do. He was quite happy that he could break the mirror. But next day the child went for a walk and he looked in the river and he seen his face again. And he was ashamed and upset. But he couldn't break the river. And the saying in the poetry was to the Tsar or to the monarch, do you recognize yourself in this poetry, my Tsar? I am a mirror. You can break me, but the river is your future, it's your descendants. You can find and see yourself in them. So basically in this video I can tell that I am that mirror. Somebody can break a mirror, but it doesn't mean that they change the facts. And the facts are that my country, Russia, is an aggressor. And I will talk about that a little bit more. I'll introduce myself again for people who doesn't know me and explain why I'm talking about it. I'm an economist and I worked and I taught in several Russian universities. I was born in USSR and Russia, and I lived in Russia for many years. I worked in Russia. I taught in universities, I taught economics and some stock markets and so on. And I traveled the world. I have been in about 8 countries, and like Canada, like United States, 42 states of United States. I have been in Ukraine once, while it still was a Republic of Soviet Union, and I have been in Crimea. It was a pioneer camp in there, and I was in Pioneers. It was a young communist organization. When kids in school, we had that organization. So I was a member of that, and I was a member of Young Communist League in the past. And I have been also in France, in Belgium, in Germany, in the United Kingdom. And because of my writing, I'm live in Canada for 18 years. I'm traveler and writer. I write mostly mysteries. And I wrote in some marathons of writers with some other Russian-speaking writers. Many of them are from Ukraine. So now I have lots of friends in Ukraine, in different cities like Odessa, Nikolaev, Kiev, Vinnytsia, Lviv, and lots of others. So what I'm posting on my channel is the result of not just my research or some videos I see from other places. It's a result of my conversations with my friends in all over the world. On my Facebook page, it's over 30 countries in the world. So that's where I get my information from. And being a person who came from USSR and Russia, who lived in the countries like that before, who worked in these countries, I have lots of experience and knowledge about that. And yet, I'll tell you that I immigrated to Canada in early 2000s because of my marriage. I married to a Canadian man and happily married. And you know what was the scariest part for me when I was immigrating to Canada? I bet to the normal person from normal country it wouldn't even cross your mind. I was afraid to be a traitor to my country, Russia. I was afraid to be called a traitor to my country, Russia. Why is that? It's because that's what was happening in USSR. If you live in USSR, to live in another country, especially not in perestroika time but earlier, when I was living, USSR was gone and Russia was decent country with okay economy and so on. It was developing and so on. There was no such a stigma anymore. It was okay to move to other country or I would never moved. But in USSR, it was a stigma. It was more than stigma. It was like a brand on your forehead. It was awful. And people, because the government of USSR was thinking that people who live in the country are traitors to the country. You can't possibly be normal mind, not crazy or anything, and move to another country from USSR. It means you betrayed your country. You betrayed your family, and your family gonna pay for it. Even 2000s and stuff like that. When you get in a job, you have to file application form, and they all kind of standard. They made in USSR, and there is one line in that form saying, "Do you have relatives abroad?" And it mean a bad thing, very bad thing, which wasn't all that bad anymore. But application forms still had that, still asked for that information, because. But in USSR, your parents could lose the job if young girl, let's say, married American and left USSR. Her mother, who working perhaps as a teacher, could lose the job, because who will allow a teacher who raised a traitor to USSR to teach their children? Yeah, some relatives might find a job as a street cleaner, sweeping the streets, but they would never be allowed to have any significant position or any position of power, or even like teaching jobs or anything like that, because teachers are propagandists. It's a school is a part of propaganda. And what kind of Soviet person you are if your own child betrayed USSR? So this is what I was afraid of, and now I'm living through that fear. That one of the worst nightmares was one of those, and now I'm living through it. People from my close, basically family even, saying that I'm a traitor, that my Russian citizenship should be revoked, and only because I'm telling them the truth. They don't want to hear about Russian aggression in Ukraine, about the Putin destroying my country, and so on. And so is writing to me Russian trolls all over the world. Some of them trolls, some of them useful idiots, some of them truly believe, but majority of them are paid trolls, but many people truly believe that not Putin who destroyed my country is a traitor. It's me, I am a traitor, and so is people like I am. What kind of awful thing is that? I'll tell you a little bit about my past. Besides teaching in several Russian universities and raised a whole bunch of free-thinking economists in Russia, I was also working in a big plant in one of the big cities with 1 million people, and 7,000 people were working on that plant. My team came, it was perestroika times, and lots of stuff from plant was stolen, and some bad people was trying, corrupted people, kind of like Putin, trying to destroy the plant. Yet, because of my activity and my team, we created business plan and we prevented. Without that business plan, our plant would be bankrupt. 7,000 people would be losing their jobs and thrown on the streets. It didn't happen. And we were the part of the team who prevented that from happening. So I did a lot for my country. Not many people did for my country as much as I did. I paid taxes. My apartment's still in Russia, and there is some of my money, not much. I didn't have much money in Russia, but it's still in Russia. That's the point I'm making. Yet Putin's money, Lavrov's money, and Medvedev's money, and many Putin's oligarchs' money, and their families, they have a property abroad, which they steal from Russian people, and they have properties abroad, they have yachts, they have lots of other things. And if you watch the investigations of Mr. Navalny, I provide some information about Putin's corruption on my channel. These people are stealing from my country and taking money abroad. My money is in Russia, some of it. Yet I live in Canada over 18 years now. And now I'm paying my price for that war as well. Yes, I am in a free country, Canada, and nothing threatening my life. But I can't come back to Russia, because for what I said, I'm gonna face 15 years in jail. And because of that, I may not be able to see my elderly relatives. I may never see them again. And I would never get back my property there, my money there from there, or anything. So it is awful. But most horrible for me is to be called a traitor, and so is every normal Russian who does not support the war of Putin, and they call the traitors as well. I basically was asked to give by close people to me, Russian people, very close people to me, to give up my Russian citizenship, because in their eyes I am a traitor, because I dared to criticize Russia. Any free people from any free country would never imagine that happening to them. Canadians can criticize their government as much as they want. Americans can do the same. So is every person from every free world country. But apparently in Russia, if you criticize Putin for murdering Russian people, they are traitors. I hate Putin and his regime because he destroying Russia in every way. Russian economy would be destroyed. I'll probably will make a separate video about that, but their ideas that they're gonna sell the gas to China or something like that, it's not gonna happen, or not in amount they would have it. Their oil pipelines would be destroyed if they stop pumping oil from them, through them, and so on. They cannot. Military, whole world saw how weak Russian army is. And during the time when the counteroffensive in Ukraine was going on these days, like massive counteroffensive operation, what Russia doing? Putin opening the biggest observation wheel in Moscow. They celebrating Day of Moscow. They dancing and drinking and partying, when Russian soldiers dying on the front. Yet I am the traitor who's saying it should be stopped and Russian soldiers should come back home. It is very painful to see that, and it's very painful to hear from Russian people and from Russian trolls. Even I know they are trolls, but it's still painful. So why would I support Putin? Why would I jump around and be happy about? He murdering Russians, he murdering Ukrainians, he turned Russia into fascist terrorist state, who's threatening the world with nuclear weapons, with hunger, by stealing the grain and not allowing it to go to Africa and stuff like that. Now it started to move and stuff like that, but it's still, it was a threat, and it still is, threatening the world with blow up on the biggest in Europe nuclear power plant in Zaporozhye. And every time when Putin is losing on the front, military, he's shooting at civilians. Right now my friends in Kharkiv were sitting without electricity. The water pumps wasn't working because Russian rockets from Russian territory shooting Ukraine, shooting peaceful people and destroying everything. There are still people in Russia, I run into them, it's not a troll, it's real people who believe that Mariupol wasn't even destroyed, that even windows wasn't broken in some buildings. Mariupol looked like city of Stalingrad right now. It was bombed to the ground. Maybe I'll make a video. I tried not to show all that horrors of the war scenes because I don't have my own footage of that. But I might create a video about that to be able to show some Russian people what actually happening in Ukraine. That they bombing civilians, destroying the country. Winter is coming. Now many cities wouldn't have heat. They wouldn't have anything. So why in the world, after what I just said, I would support Putin and his regime? No one in normal mind would do that. I lived in free world long enough to know that free people different from slaves. They will not praise Putin just because he's from my country. As I wouldn't praise the murderers, rapists, and thieves who are in jail for the crimes they committed, if they really committed those crimes, just because they have the same passport as I do. I won't do that. Putin destroyed the law in my country. There is no law in Russia. When I was leaving, at least was pretense, at least courts could decide something, but a little bit after that, the amount of cases, if the case get to court, the percentage that you can be acquitted of the crime if it's proven that you're not guilty would be 0.0 something percent. Right now it's 0.14, 0.014%. So if your case get to court, you're guilty. That's what it says. Political prisoner Navalny now not even allowed client-lawyer confidentiality. So the people who holding him in prison, the administration of the prison, have rights to read all whatever he has to say to his lawyer, and nothing Navalny can do. I am one person. I'm not belong to any organizations. I'm not from any groups. But I think and I believe that it's supposed to be the law in the country and should not be political prisoners. Navalny and everybody else should be released. Not because I'm supporter of Navalny, not supporter of Navalny. It doesn't matter. Nobody should be thrown in jail without proofs, without defense, and it should work. Right now in my country, Russia, there is no law, period. None. And I'm not gonna tolerate that. That is why I'm fighting. That is why I created my channel. And my channel is free. I don't make any money with it. It's a new channel. I don't even have enough subscribers to make any money. I am not trying to get elected in Russia. I am not stealing anything from Russians. I have no reasons to lie to them. I have no reasons to lie to you, any of you. Putin does. For him, staying in power means his life. Because he corrupted politician who stole from my country. And right now, if he loses the power, he could be murdered. So, nevertheless, verify any information you get from anyone, from me, from anyone. If your critical thinking increased since you started to watch my videos, I feel that my goal is achieved. I collected with years lots of reliable information and now I'm sharing it on my channel. And help me to spread it out. Please subscribe and like. And lots of intelligent, good people in the world should unite. We must stop that fascism which coming from Putin and his regime, and the victory in Ukraine will mean that Putin's fascist regime will fall. Only then my country Russia will maybe have a chance, hopefully have a chance for the better future. But before that they have to go through huge transformation. Should get rid of that Soviet idea that Russians are superior race, superior nationality, and everybody else is there like on the level of dogs or cats or anything, because this is fashion. Yeah, Soviet Union was saying everybody equal. They never was equal. Always was better to be Russian, even if it's written in your passport, than to be anybody else. Kazakh, Ukrainian, anyone. It was a false information Soviet Union was feeding people, and everybody knew that. That is why in many of them is saying Russian in their passport. Also, how the Russians ended up in all the republics of USSR and nowadays free countries, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and everything. It was only because as an empire, USSR was trying to put their people in every country, take the key positions, and trying to make sure that this country stays within an empire. And before the war, if people, like some Ukrainians, somebody from Ukraine, Russian from Ukraine, writing to me, troll or something, I don't know, saying that he's pro-Russian, he living in Ukraine, he could have left without any war, he could have sold his apartment and moved back to Russia. But no, he trying to turn Ukraine into Russia. And this is wrong. Ukraine is Ukraine. Ukrainians does not want to be with Russians, and we should leave them alone. I'm against Putin, I'm against the war in Ukraine. Russians should leave and trying to make a better life in their own country. This is my opinion. I'm deeply sad about that. This is very painful for me that I've been called traitor from my own country. And thank you for watching, and have a great day or have a great evening.